Hey, y'all, each week on The Sam Sanders Show from KCRW, we ask big questions and share hot takes about the pop culture we love.
Now that we have YouTube, we don't need any more biopics. If they've been alive such that I can watch them on YouTube, I don't need it.
I don't think that music is getting worse. I think y'all just don't listen to artists who aren't in the mainstream.
Taylor Swift, retire. It's time to retire.
The Sam Sanders Show from KCRW, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube.
The pressure was insane. My whole leg was actually shaking on the throttle pedal. I was so scared of losing my dream and of failing and making a mistake in that crucial moment.
This is Life in 7 Songs from the San Francisco Standard. I'm your host, Sophie Behrman. This week, my guest is Formula One world champion Nico Rosberg. If you're not familiar with the sport, these drivers battle extreme G-forces while racing at speeds topping 230 miles per hour. Racing is basically in Nico's DNA. He's the son of Formula One world champion KK Rosberg, who built a go-kart racetrack in their backyard for Nico when Nico was just a toddler. And in 2016, after spending 30 years focused on this singular goal, Nico won the Formula One World Championship in Abu Dhabi. But 5 days after winning, at the height of his career and surprising a lot of people, Nico abruptly announced his retirement from the sport, a decision that set him on a path to finding new meaning in work and life. It feels especially fitting to have Nico on the show this week as Formula One heads back to Abu Dhabi this weekend for the 2025 season finale, the very same track where Nico claimed his championship nearly a decade ago. Nico Rosberg, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sophie, and hi, everybody who's listening. Great to be on the show.
So, Nico, I have to say, I was surprised that you didn't choose a song by the princess of pop, Britney Spears. Weren't you nicknamed Britney by your F1 colleagues?
Wow, Sophie, that is a very tough entrance to this podcast. Yeah, that was the nickname that some of my racing colleagues gave me because I had very long, flowing blonde hair, which I was very proud of. In fact, I crashed once, and one of my rivals came on the radio and said, "Britney's in the wall, Britney's in the wall." That's not very kind.
So you didn't like it. Now I understand why you would not choose a Britney song. Okay, so let's start with a song that you did choose. Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John.
That's a funny one. That's a song that reminds me of my childhood when I was like in my bedroom in Monaco and Ayrton Senna in the Formula One car was racing around the Monaco Grand Prix track with the screaming engine sound just outside my balcony. The race was on and Lion King just came out, and for some reason I think my mom gave me that CD, and so I was listening to Elton John and the Lion King. And can you feel the love tonight? I can't believe you're making me sing this stuff.
It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer.
I just combined that very much with my childhood. That CD was playing constantly in my CD player.
So, Nico, you mentioned your family a little bit. What was your relationship with your parents like?
Very, very lucky, lovely childhood. My mom, just a very caring, loving person. I learned a lot of respect for other people from her. And then my father was, of course, a racing hero for me because, as you mentioned in the intro, he was a Formula One world champion. And I grew up watching him race. And that's where my dream was built also, that I want to be a race car driver myself.
Nico, do you feel like your path to becoming a professional racer was preordained on some level?
Yeah, I think in a way, I think it's something that my dad also envisioned as an amazing father-son hobby and passion to share. He built a 2-seater go-kart and the pedals were too far away. So he would do the pedals, throttle and brake, and I would do the steering wheel. And I was terrified because he went way too fast straight away and I couldn't really follow with the steering. I drove off the road into a bush. And then maybe a year or two later, at the age of 6, my father had this old Jeep Wrangler. And I was allowed to take that into the go-kart track and just drive around the go-kart track just on my own, which was incredible. So in a way, perhaps, yeah, he was seeing if maybe I would pick it up and if maybe that would be something that I would enjoy doing. And in fact, then, yeah, it went that route that I really enjoyed it. And I took on the challenge of trying to be a great racing driver. And I started winning races. And then it became an amazing father-son hobby because he was always there at the races when I was young. And that was a great way to bond. I was very, very lucky to also have him as a role model, as a guiding hand through my career.
On the flip side, how did you sort of handle the pressure of being Keke Rosberg's son?
Yeah, sure. I remember my first race here in the south of France because I grew up in Monaco. And the first race here was like on a parking lot with the hay bales, with the go-karts. And I arrived and I was standing in the queue to register, I think. And behind me were two kids and they were like, oh, did you see that Rosberg kid? Hey, we need to make sure to beat him. We need to leave him behind. And they didn't know that I was standing right in front in the queue. So from the get-go, the pressure was a lot higher than for most other kids just because of my name, which was tough. But at the same time, it did help to prepare me for the pressures that would come later in Formula One, where the pressure is extreme.
So the next song you said reminds you of one of your homes, the island of Ibiza, your happy place. It's Levels by Avicii. Why does this song transport you to Ibiza?
Yeah, Ibiza is just like, has forever in my whole life been our family holiday destination ever since I'm born. And in fact, that go-karting track that you referenced in the intro was in the backyard in Ibiza.
Okay.
That's where I learned to drive. And I was at Avicii's last ever gig, which was in Ibiza.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, I traveled to that Avicii concert the night of the Budapest race. So the race finishes, debrief for the team. I flew straight to Ibiza from Budapest and straight from the airport into Ushuaia with my clothes that I was still wearing from my race weekend. And I went straight into Ushuaia, straight into Avicii.
It's a great party track.
Oh, sometimes I got a feeling. Amazing. Such good vibes. And he played this song, and it's just like we had such an incredible moment with friends, and then it was devastating to then learn of his passing. I think it was a couple of years after this. So this is just a special memory. And yeah, I mean, he was just a genius, right? I mean, his music is incredible.
Nico, explain a little bit the physical demands of being at the top of this sport.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to get to that level?
So first of all, let's start with the actual physical demand in a car. Singapore race, I lost 7.5 pounds just from sweating in 2 hours because it's so extremely hot in the car. And you cannot breathe properly. Yeah, your seatbelt is tight. You're wearing it's like a skiing suit that you're wearing. There's no air coming in. The helmet is tight and closed. No fresh air. Your sweat is running in your eyes. And there's extreme G-forces that you're trying to deal with. So it's extremely tough. The core temperature also, I swallowed a pill, which measured my core temperature, and it registered 41 degrees in temperature.
Just for the American listener, that's like 106 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so it's high fever. It's high fever, right? It is absolute torture sometimes in these hot races. But mentally also, the race is 2 hours, and it's an extreme level of concentration that's required because you have inputs that are coming at 220 mile an hour at you, flying at you, and you're reacting. Your eyes are just flickering all the time, left, right, left, right. They're just flickering constantly at incredible speeds.
The pressure just sounds totally immense.
It's insane because like a Formula One racing team has like $300 million in annual budget. There's more than 2,000 employees just to build these 2 race cars for each Formula One team. And then you're 20 years old and you're almost like a CEO coming to the top of a company. And the whole company depends on your performance on the track. Like it's really, really intense. I mean, I came in the same team that my father won the world championship with. And I remember one of the early races, I crashed on lap 1. And then they called me in the evening, one of these team owners, and he said, Nico, you were useless to us this weekend.
Wow.
I'm 20 years old trying to achieve my dream here. So it's a tough, cutthroat environment, and those guys were like army generals at the time, and of course, huge respect, just that I was a bit more of a sensitive human being, and I would have needed more of a leadership style with more empathy at the time. But fortunately, I managed to pull through. I took myself a mental coach also, and that helped me immensely for my career. Every winter, we spent like 2 hours every 2 days together, going through every whether it's philosophy, psychology, or even like sports psychology, and then meditation, all these different techniques that you can use to enhance your mental performance, essentially. And that really helped me in my career. But
Yeah.
I was the only one doing that. No other driver was doing the mental part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in our sport, you were looked at as a loser if you were working with a brain doctor, because it's a very macho sport.
Did you get a lot of shit for that? Excuse, pardon my language.
I never
but-
told anybody at the time. Never told anybody at the time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wild.
But with the whole mental training, I managed to calm the fears and the being scared and the nerves. And then the sensitivity becomes a great strength.
Tell me about choosing Beautiful Day by U2. This is a song you said helped you get in the zone.
Yeah, that's a lovely one. So always pre-race to get right into that fighting spirit. Just put the earplugs in, put my sunglasses on, close my eyes, and then just before the start, it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. It just releases such a positive power, emotional energy, because like the race start is the most insane moment where nothing is predictable and you just need to adapt to everything that's going on around you, and it's so fundamentally important to your race result, the race start. Like you can easily make 2 places up, and along a race hard enough to make just 1 place up.
So tell me a little bit about Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton and I became teammates and best friends, and it was just the 2 of us racing for the McLaren Mercedes go-karting team. We shared a hotel room all year long. We finished first and second in all the major championships, and we did 2 years like that. And then we were on holiday together. Like we went on holiday a lot together, and then we were sitting at dinner and we were saying, like, imagine if in 15 years time it's just the 2 of us racing for McLaren Mercedes in Formula One, and it's just the 2 of us fighting for the world championship and for race wins. And then you fast forward 15 years and it's actually happened. The problem was there's so much at stake. Like Formula One, being Formula One world champion is just like the ultimate dream for each of us. And eventually it just spiraled out of control and we became real enemies at the time, which is unfortunate, but it's just too much at stake, and there's too much involved and too many people involved and so much pressure. And so it's kind of very, very difficult or almost impossible to stay friends in that situation.
So around 2013, 2015, what does that time period look like for you? The rivalry with Lewis is heating up. Things are getting really intense, right?
Yeah, that was the pinnacle then of my career. So I moved on from Williams and I went to Mercedes, which just bought a F1 team. Mercedes was only a supplier of engines to McLaren. And then they decided to do their own team. And I was the first driver that they hired, being German myself. And the problem was that the Mercedes team was really struggling for 3 years. And my father was telling me, hey, you need to try and get out of there. You know, just that team's not going to go anywhere. But fortunately, I stuck around. And then Lewis Hamilton joined. And so then suddenly this team just took off. So it was 4 years of building. And then by the time we got to the 5th year, we were fighting for the world championship. And so now we go into 2014, 15, 16, which is a 3-year period where it was kind of just myself against Lewis Hamilton. And we were fighting for every single race win and every single championship. And he won the first 2 of those championships in 2014, 15. And that put me into my darkest hole, kind of, because he'd been beating me like all my life, kind of. And I was like, this is not possible. It has to be possible for me to win as well. And so I remember locking myself into my hotel room, and it was a bit dark. And I really was thinking through, like, how do I want to approach this in my life now? And in that moment, and again, from my mental coach, I learned that most often in failure is your greatest chance to grow as a human being, because it's where you learn the most, and it's where you can also reap the strongest motivation to also want to avoid such failure in future. And so I came out of that hotel room and that darkness with such insane motivation like I'd never had before in my life. And it translated into winning 7 races in a row and then winning the world championship next as well. All that came out of that moment in the hotel room where I locked myself in and closed the shutters and everything. And so I was just incredibly motivated.
So tell me about winning.
Winning the championship, winning races in general always is just amazing. The winning the championship moment was at first just a relief because the pressure was so insane. Because it feels like your whole identity is at stake in that moment. Are you going to be a loser forever, or are you actually going to be a winner? And it went down to the last corner of the last lap of the last race. We were still fighting wheel to wheel until that last corner. It was just, the pressure was insane. My whole leg was actually shaking on the throttle pedal. I was so scared of losing my dream and of failing and making a mistake in that crucial moment. And so when I crossed the line, it was just firstly just such a huge relief that I managed to do this. And then only afterwards did the joy come and the excitement and the thrill, which led to our next song, I guess, which we were singing all night long in the discotheque that evening.
Let's listen to a little bit of it. It's We Are the Champions by Queen.
And we'll keep on fighting till the end. Awesome stuff. And I'm so lucky to have experienced these moments, because winning with a sports team and sharing that with all your friends and family is so insanely powerful. I will never experience that again in business. Yeah, because business is just not as clear cut. It's not as black and white. You cross that line, it's done, and everybody watches you cross that line. It's just such a climax that comes together where everybody can take part. And in business, you're behind closed doors. Yeah, it's just a different dynamic, and so lucky to have been able to experience that. So grateful. Some of the most powerful moments in my life.
It's time for a quick break. When we come back, at the peak of his career, Nico decides to make a 180-degree turn. Hey everyone, I want to recommend a podcast. Hard Knocks is a show about resilience, self-discovery, and finding meaning after chaos, hosted by Amanda Knox. Each week, Amanda sits down with fascinating guests, writers, thinkers, artists, to explore how we learn, grow, and rebuild ourselves after life knocks us down. Amanda brings humor, honesty, and hard-earned perspective to every conversation, drawing on her own experience of being wrongfully convicted and rebuilding her life. Amanda was a guest on Life in 7 Songs in one of our most moving episodes, opening up about how music became a lifeline during her years of wrongful imprisonment. On our show, she spoke candidly about turning pain into wisdom, and also about how we're all so much more than our worst moments. If you liked that episode, you'll love her show, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jesse Alejandro Cottrell.
And I'm Emily Dreyfus, and this is Pacific Standard Time.
We have stories from all over the state of California, all the big battles that are happening here.
Prop 50,
housing affordability,
tech,
and immigration.
And we're really excited to bring you the stories about how California is dealing with what it means to be alive in 2025.
Subscribe to Pacific Standard Time, a new weekly show from the San Francisco Standard.
We'll have new episodes every Wednesday starting November 19th, wherever you get your podcasts.
So 5 days after winning the 2016 F1 World Championship, you announced that you're retiring. Why?
I decided as I was crossing the line, I said, I'm done. You know, I did it, and I'm not really willing to put that kind of intensity and life dedication into it again. I achieved my dream, and it was just it was a good moment to go. Of course, it was early, right? Because I was only 31 and I was at my prime. I had many more years on my contract with Mercedes. But it just felt like the right time, because I'd thrown everything at it, and then I managed to get it. I managed to achieve the dream, and it was very, very close. Like, I won the championship literally in the last corner of the last lap of the last race. It was so close. So I won it in the best possible way against my lifelong rival, Lewis Hamilton, and just couldn't have been any better. So I just really took the opportunity and said, it's just, for me, probably the right moment. I had a daughter, 1 year old. I was really focused on building my family also and spending time with them. And it just was the perfect moment to move on into my next second life.
If you hadn't won that year,
I'd still
Would
be
you
racing today.
You would be. Oh,
So
really?
thankfully I did win.
When you were making the decision to retire, did you have a conversation with your dad?
No, I didn't, because I was scared that he would be telling me that I'm a fool with this decision, because I'm at the peak of my ability. I just won the world championship. I have like an easy $100 million more that I can just earn by doing a couple of more years and just driving in a circle for a couple more years. So I was scared that he would make me hesitate, so I didn't speak to anybody apart from my wife. And she was like, whatever makes you happy, so that was really nice of her. She was really easygoing. And then I informed all friends, family right after the decision, or just before it was announced anyways. And my father was a bit concerned on the call. And he's like, how can you throw so much cash down the bin? Just do a couple more years, drive in circle, have a good time, enjoy the world championship. But anyways, yeah, that was his view.
Okay, so you mentioned your wife. How did you two meet?
Yeah, because our families were friends. And so I met my wife. I was 9 years old. Yeah, she then came. It was, again, Ibiza. And I remember that so clearly. All the parents asked, hey, Nico, why don't you perform a magic trick for her? That was so embarrassing for me because I liked her. So to be there, what all the parents were watching, I was like tomato red.
What was the magic trick? Was she impressed?
Yeah, it was just a card trick, with the one side of the cards being wider than the other side, so you can easily like just flick one card around and then pull it out of the stack quite easily.
Like
that
a
was
trick
the magic
deck.
trick.
Okay.
And yes, she was trick deck. She was very impressed. Yeah. And then we met again. We were 18, and we've been together since that very day.
Any songs that remind you of your wife? I think you chose one.
Yeah, well, this next one then that reminds me of my wife, because it's been our song ever since we've been together. I don't know if it was out when we were 18, but I think pretty much.
I think it came out in 2002.
Oh, there you go. So we got together 2003. So it's exactly, that's why it was still fresh at the time, and that's why it was our song, and it was our song at our wedding also.
This is Something Beautiful from Robbie Williams.
May you find that love that won't leave you. May you find it by the end of the day. You won't be lost, hurt, tired and lonely. Something beautiful will come your way.
That's wonderful. Yeah, this song just means a lot to us. And it's incredible for me to think that now, 30 years later, we have a wonderful family with 2 daughters. They're 7 and 9 years old. And we have a lovely family. So that's incredible.
How has fatherhood changed your perspective on achievement and legacy?
Not really changed much at all. I try to make sure that our daughters are not too focused on just results. Like, people take pictures of me now on the road, on the street, they ask me for a picture and everything. Then sometimes I say to my daughters, that's lovely that they appreciate and were fans of my racing, but I would perhaps like even more if it was because I've done something really impactful for a lot of people. So that's something that I'm trying to encourage my kids to live a life of contribution, something that I'm trying to pursue a little bit more also now. And then what really has changed lately is I've seen how much our daughters need us as parents. Like, I feel such a responsibility towards them to be there for them and live a long life for them, essentially, also. That's something new that's come now. I feel so responsible. And then, so I even avoid like flying a helicopter now, all these kind of things, just
Really?
because they really need me and my wife. They really, one of them more my wife, one of them more me, but they really need us. And that's a huge responsibility that I feel.
That just must reaffirm in some ways your decision to retire when you did, I imagine.
Yeah, of course. The sport is also dangerous, right? The F1 sport. And also from that point of view, I'm grateful that nothing ever happened to me and I managed to get through it safely.
Did you ever worry about your dad as a kid?
Not really, because by the time I was growing up, he was out of F1.
Yeah.
If I would have been watching him in F1, I would have been very worried because
Yeah.
the sport was so crazy dangerous before my time. Like in my dad's time, there was a 10% chance that you would die during the year because there was 20 drivers and 2 drivers per year died. It's just nuts, the odds.
Did your dad stop when he became a parent?
No, he didn't. Although actually, 1 year later, just as I did actually. Yeah, same. You're right. That's interesting. He stopped 1 year after I was born.
So, Nico, the next song you picked is one that reminds you of your daughters. It's Stargazing by Miles Smith.
Oh, fun. Just listened to that yesterday again in the car.
Why does it make you think of your girls?
Oh, because they could listen to that on repeat in every car journey. They don't need anything else, just that song on repeat. My wife and I, we go crazy because we hear it so much, but it's still a lovely song. I haven't gotten to the point where I hate it yet.
Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I've wasted. You were right there all along. You and I stargazing.
That's an awesome song. And I just did a recent trip to London with my older daughter, and she brought this song to the trip. I had never heard it before, and so that's where I discovered it, and it was an amazing trip. And the most fun thing, she says, playing basketball, Daddy, with you in that run-down basketball court next to the hotel, that was the best moment. You know, you go to all the extent of traveling to London, and all they want is the simple moment of playing basketball, you know, which you could just do next to your home also.
It's just about spending time together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's special.
And now is the critical time, because they're 9 and 7. It's kind of the last moment now for me still to be able to influence them and point them in the direction, give them experiences, help them find their passions. And I can see also a barrier that especially my older daughter, she has a bit of the sensitivity and shyness from myself. And that's such a barrier because it really makes you scared to go into new situations. Like even playing basketball, she wanted to quit basketball just because she was insecure with the other children and being a girl, and most other people on the team were boys. So she wanted to quit. And we just about managed to get her to do one more lesson, where then she saw that actually she has one of the biggest talents. And then she got hooked, and now she loves basketball. And so I need to find a way to keep pushing her a little bit, nudging her, you know, not too much, but nudging her into these experiences, because so that she can discover passions for herself.
Letting them discover their own path, whatever that may
Yeah, sure.
be.
By giving them the opportunity to experience everything.
So you spent pretty much your entire first 30 years of your life focused on that singular purpose. What was it like to step away, and how did you figure out what to do next?
Stepping away is scary because your life was dedicated to this one mission and suddenly it's gone. So it's like there's a big void, and your identity goes also a little bit, because I was that race car driver that was fighting for world championships and then winning the world championship. And then suddenly that goes. So it's a bit scary at first. And you can go into a little bit of a hole, you know, and as you're trying to find something new. And the problem also with find something new is you're at the top of your game in the sport, and everything new, you will have to start from the bottom. And it's very hard to accept to start from scratch and then dedicate time to it again, where you don't know if you're going to be able to achieve similar success again as you have in your first life and all that. So that's quite difficult. And I tried a lot of things, and now eventually it took me 6-7 years to find my new direction in business. So it's a long journey. And a little bit more details is I'm building Rosberg Ventures. I want to make it into a really leading venture capital business. We're building our own funds, connecting German capital to the US venture capital scene, and also backing startups. It's also, Rosberg Ventures is a startup essentially. And 80% of the time it felt like this was going to fail. And I was taking a lot of risk personally, a reputational risk also.
It's interesting to hear you talk about risk when you used to drive at, 200 miles per hour?
Yes, but you wouldn't automatically think so, but I'm a very risk-averse guy, and I like to manage my risk and understand what the worst-case scenario is going to be in, and then make even that great. If you're able to creatively make the worst-case scenario even turn into a win, then it gives you confidence to just take more risk in the first place, you know, and just go running ahead. Because you know, even if things break, you're going to be able to fix them very well and creatively. But then, yeah, it just worked out. So I'm very, very excited about this and very, very happy now, yeah.
So you chose Klingande by Jubal. Why'd you choose that?
Oh, again, it's a beautiful tune, which this is reminding me of Ibiza chill out sessions. It's just such a cool vibe and just brings happiness and brings friends together and family together. It's very lovely. That's like cruising on a little boat into the sunset in Ibiza with that music on, friends, family, even kids, everybody just laughing, having great fun, eating ice cream, just enjoying life.
Nico Rosberg, thank you so much for sharing your 7 songs with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Life in 7 Songs is a production from the San Francisco Standard. If you liked this episode, check out my conversation with Damian Wetzel, who spent his life perfecting another kind of extreme sport, ballet. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and review the show. It makes a big difference for us. Senior producer is Jasmine Morris. Our producers are Michelle Lands and Tessa Kramer. Theme music by Kate Davis and Zubin Hensler. Jess Hutchison created our show art. Our music consultant is Sarah Timbekshian. As always, you can find this guest's full playlist at sf.news/Spotify. I'm Sophie Behrman. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.